In this video, I'll show you some tools you can use to produce your own historical timeline. Let me introduce them in order from perhaps the easiest and most familiar to the more flashy sort of tech tools here on this menu. Option number one is obviously just to make your timeline by hand. It could be on a piece of paper, a poster board, your bedroom wall. The trick is going to be sharing your creation with others and with your teacher. I can imagine you'd take a clear photo of your timeline, or perhaps it might have to be a few photos, or you could even do a video that pans across your timeline while you narrate it. Option number two is to use a familiar tool like Google Slides. If you click here on menu, you'll be prompted to copy a slide. So it says copy of timeline template, and you can just change that to say, Michelle Tabor's timeline, and then you could name this something else like Greek and Roman timeline. Okay, so you can see it's pretty minimal. You're just going to get a line here, but on the second page, I've just done an example here so that you can see what you are able to do by adding lines. You can add images, you can add text. I might put Greece on one side, Rome on another side. The limitation I see here is that things can look pretty small, and I don't think you'll be able to get everything on one slide. But you can add slides. You could, duplicate a slide to add to your timeline and to extend it. Option number three is to use a free online tool called Sutori. If you click here, you can create your own account for free. I would say sign up with your Chadwick Google account. And I already have an account, so let me just log in with my account to show you. Click on Create a Story. And it gives you some templates, but in the free version, I think you can only use the blank template. Here we are, and you can change the header image up here. You could click that and remove that or put in a new image. And then you could just insert your title here, Greece and Rome. Ancient Greece and Rome, and you can write an introduction to your story. You can introduce a heading, but you don't have to. Whenever you click plus here, it's going to create, you have the option to create, oh, you can't see it here. This says text up here, so you can insert some text. So I could say 500 or 500 BCE in Athens. I could add media there. You don't have the option to change colors, but you can add media, you can change the text, you can change the size of the text, and then I could explain something happened. So there I go. And then if I want to add another thing, I can click over here. There you can see it, text, and this will go on the other side. So maybe I put my Greece things over here and my Rome things over here. 400 BCE in Rome, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I have a couple things there, and you can move these around. Whoops, no, that's not how. Just take it here and take these little dots here, and you can move it up and down. You can space it as you need to. I think you can just delete this heading if you don't want to use it. Sure, yeah, I'm sure. Okay, so there you go. And if you decide that this is not good and you want to start over, you can just hit delete. And then when you're done and you want to share it, you just hit share. Those with a link can view, sure. So you could copy this link and then send it to me or your classmates to share your timeline with other people. Option number four is to use something called Canva, which is a free website for making graphic designs. If you're familiar with this kind of tool, you can create really beautiful professional looking content. You can create a free account here with your Chadwick Gmail. I already have an account, so let me just log in. With my Chadwick email. Okay, and you can really design anything here. Let's just say I want to make a timeline. Okay, timeline. Sure, so over here, you can pick from any variety of templates. This looks kind of cool. Anyway, let me choose this one. Okay, so what you see here is this is actually a document. It's called Blue and Black Timeline Presentation. You'd probably rename this. And I don't necessarily want all of these pages, but that's okay. You can just delete a page if you don't want it. I don't want that. I don't want that. I want to use this one. So I can come up here and I can click these elements and you can change them, right? So I could rename this Greece and Rome. I could change this text. I can change the color of an element. If I click here, let's say I want to make this yellow instead. Okay, sure. Oh, then I'd have to change all these other elements too to make it match. And I can go in here and I can change this text, 500 BCE in Athens, something happened, right? And I could describe that. You can insert images. Over here, you can add elements. You can add text, photos. Just keep in mind that some photos that you put in are free, and then some are a free bunny, but then some are not. So you want to stay away from the ones that have the crown or say pro on them because you don't have that level of access unless you pay for it, which we're not asking you to do. But you could also change the background here. So let's say I put this in, and for graphic designers, you know, you have to pay attention. Things are layered here, so you'd have to move this to the back. And then it becomes a background. You can change the size of it. So it's a cool kind of tool to play around with if you want to learn some actual graphic design. But that's like hard level, I would say. The last tool I want to show you is called Flippity. I use this all the time to make things, and they have a timeline. So here's this cool timeline of Mr. Rogers, you know, like the guy on TV who Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, right? So it's got this great timeline. And one thing that's cool about it is it automatically spaces things out for you. It puts them in chronological order and spaces them out. You can use different colors. You can insert elements. So here is when well, let's start up here. Here's when he was born in 1928. And you can insert things. So here you have actually looks like a Google slideshow about his birth. Cool. Okay, and then if you scroll down, you can see when he graduated, and you can add some text there to talk about that. You can see when he got married. It looks really cool, but you have to be comfortable with going behind the scenes to do the coding here. So you'd have to go where it says want to make your own timeline. Click in there, and maybe it looks intimidating, but as long as you're patient and following written instructions, it's actually pretty easy. It says make a copy of this template. And okay, so here's what it looks like behind the scenes, right? So I have the years, you can have months and days. Here's the headline. So on the timeline we saw it said birth and graduation. You can add a description. You can change the color. That's cool. You could use different colors for Greece and Rome. You can insert media links or other links. Down here, it's got different options. So you'd probably want to change this if you want to use BCE and CE, or BC and AD if you want months. And then you just follow the instructions for making it and publishing it and then sharing it with other people. I'm sure there are other options that I'm not even thinking of here that you could use. So just run it by your teacher. We're happy to be flexible here so that you can produce something that's really awesome and that you'll feel proud of.